minds, they never know where we will find.
Welcome to a new video. If you are new here, I'm Francie and I show you tips and tricks around marathon and half marathon training, and I also do running vlogs. If you are looking for running advices and if you are a runner, this is your place. In today's video, I have 5 tips for your marathon training, and we start with 2 tips why you should start running in general. Number 1 is that running training can turn back the hormonal age by up to 20 years. I think that's insane. And as far as I know, it doesn't mean you have to run 5 marathons a year. 2 to 3 easy runs a week is totally fine. Tip number 2 is that running 2 to 3 times a week can also lower your biological age by 9 years. I think that's also a pretty amazing fact. Instead of torturing yourself to go for a run, we can think of ways to make it a lot more fun. For example, joining a running group, or take a friend with you on the bike who tells you about his or her day or the weekend to forget the time a little bit. We also have 2 runners in the running group who didn't really run before, like the typical runner, and now they're joining the Hanover Half Marathon. I think that's a really big improvement. And it's also awesome to see that their mind about running changed, that it's not really boring, but so fun running with friends every Sunday.
How can running be a little more fun? Make an appointment to run or join a running club. This allows you to talk to others while running. Time flies, you have been active, and you meet new people. If you don't feel like running for a longer period of time, respect that. Sometimes it helps if you take a break from running until you really feel like running again. Try out new routes, flat, hilly, asphalt trails. Time always goes by very quickly for me. Run at different times of the day, sometimes in the morning before work, even if it's difficult for you in the beginning, or in the evening at sunset. Having a specific goal in mind is the best motivation you can get. You will know exactly why you are lacing up your shoes, even if you've had a hard day or it's raining outside. Systematic running training is the key to more fun and success. A good training plan strikes just the right balance between exertion and recovery and ensures that you make progress. And progress is very motivating.
And if you still think running is boring, just give it a try. You will see it's a lot of fun, even if you don't believe it yet. Tip number 3 is shoes during your marathon training. Personally, I don't think I'm a good example when it comes to the number of running shoes during a marathon training, because I love to try a lot of different models. And sometimes I also receive new running shoes from my sponsor, and I have a bunch of good reasons, or excuses as my friends might say, to buy even more running shoes. I'm a very good reason finder to buy more running shoes. So give me a call if you need help. The amount of running shoes during marathon training is according to the distances and tracks you are running. Asphalt roads, or when you run in the forest, and maybe when you do a long run, you need a shoe with more cushioning. So I think 2 to 3 pairs should be a good amount. Changing your running shoes also avoid one-sided strain on your musculoskeletal system.
It is ideal if you do not buy 2 or 3 of the same models, but different brands, or at least running shoes with different running shoe concepts. With 2 different running shoes, you minimize the risk of overloading. Every running shoe model has its own characteristics. The foot muscles receive different stimuli in every running shoe, which can lead to variety in strengthening of your foot muscles. The body learns to tolerate different loads better. If you've done your entire workout in cushioned shoes, you should run the marathon in cushioned shoes as well. Don't be tempted to switch your running shoes at the last moment because your feet are not prepared for change.
Tip number 4 is the day of the long run. Sunday is just a perfect day for a long run, since half marathon or marathon events are always on a Sunday, worldwide in 90% of the cases. If you're doing on a Saturday, it won't be worse. But for my inner monk, it has to be a Sunday. Saturday, for me, would just feel wrong. It would not be the same. Like, Thursday is number 8 and dark green, and not 6 and yellow, you know?
The main goal of a long run is to train the energy supply via fats. Because as soon as the glycogen stores in the body are used up, the body can only fall back on fats as a source of energy. In marathon training, we do long runs to get the body used to providing energy from fats at an early stage. An increase of about 10% per weekly long run is recommended. For example, with a duration of 120 minutes, run 12 minutes longer, or with a long run of 20 kilometers, run 2 kilometers longer on the next long run. In this way, you slowly increase the circumference and do not overload your body by increasing the circumference too quickly.
Tip number 5 is tapering. Tapering is just simply reducing the training volume in the last 2 to 3 weeks. So no more 30-kilometer runs or 28 or 25.
A rule of thumb that you can always follow: tapering before 5K and 10K, 1 to 1.5 weeks. Tapering before half marathons and marathons, about 2 weeks. Your body needs a regeneration phase in order to completely process the many training stimuli and the training loads of the preparation. By reducing the training load, your organism can regenerate after the hard preparation phase in order to be relaxed and 100% efficient on the day of the competition. Therefore, reduce the amount of training during the tapering phase. You should also reduce the intensity of your training sessions.
Tip number 6 is carbs. So before competition, you should consume 4 grams of carbohydrates per kilogram of your body weight, according to this book. And by that, I think they mean 1 or 2 days before the event. And that's why you typically eat pasta the day before. This is the pasta party. But you should not eat too late because your sleep quality can be affected by that. So it's more like a late afternoon pasta dinner kind of thing.
Depending on whether you want to run a certain time, like a new PB, I would stick to the advice from the book or similar studies. If it's all about having fun, there's no need to measure everything you eat. Just eat a lot of carbs the day before, and most importantly, drink a lot of water or tea. My advice at this point is always having fun. I always meet up with other runners who are also running at the event for dinner, so that you can also share your feelings and the excitement.
Tip number 7 is carbs, but during the race. And the most important tip here is to combine your gels with water stations. That's why I also read in this book, but I also talked about that with someone from the running group. So just make sure you look on the marathon track before and remember the amount of kilometer where water stations are. It might not always be possible to fit your personal gel schedule to the water stations on the track, but that's why you should take a look at the plan to match this as good as possible. All the events mostly have a map where you can find food stations, water stations, gel stations if there are any. Mostly you find it on the website, but if you don't find it on the website, you can definitely find it at the expo 1 day before.
It always makes sense to check which gel brand sponsors are represented at the event, such as Morton in Berlin. You may be able to take less gels with you and have gels on the track. In Japan, I misunderstood that there will be gel stations, but there was only one type of cookie and I haven't tried that one before. And we don't do experiences during a marathon. Of course, the expo is also there to get advice on what to eat while running. Please don't try anything new, but for the next runs, it's very interesting to see what's out there.
And that's going to wrap up the video. I hope you guys liked it, and maybe I had a tip for you which you didn't know yet. If you want to support me, you can subscribe to this channel and give this video a thumbs up. Thank you for watching, runners. Bye!